If you're like most people, then your school system and even society have greatly disappointed you in teaching about money, business, building wealth, and entrepreneurship. These are things just not covered meaningfully in the normal curriculum, and most people are pushed down a corporate path they don't even want to be on just to pay the bills and be like everyone else. There's another way, though, to beat the rat race and establish your own financial independence, at least according to real estate investor Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote the best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Welcome back to the Investors Podcast YouTube series, where we review the greatest books for business and life that have shaped our learning over the years. Hi, I'm Shawn, and this channel is all about the principles of investing. From stock tips to iconic billionaires, the best strategies, and our favorite tools, the Investors Podcast has everything you need to know. So let's get started. In essence, as the title suggests, this book is about Kiyosaki comparing the two father figures in his life and how they so drastically differed in their views of money. His real father, the poor dad, was poor relative to his best friend's dad, who owned his own business. Importantly, from him he learned that the rich make money work for them. How's this possible? Well, rather than spending it on pleasures and luxuries that permanently drain money from their pockets, they work to also accumulate ownership and assets. These are shares in businesses, real estate, or whatever else puts cash in your pockets over time. On the other hand, everyone else is raised to think about how they can work for money. You're taught skills that'll be valuable to an employer, like how to write a resume, how to follow orders and instructions, etc., all in the pursuit of a stable salary, instead of learning about how to start and run your own business or invest your savings. It's not about how much money you earn today, but how much you keep and then direct towards accumulating assets. Kiyosaki says, quote, "A person can be highly educated, professionally successful, and financially illiterate." He explains further that while most are familiar generally with the concept of assets and liabilities from basic accounting, they fail to consider how to apply them to their lives. For those stuck in the rat race, this is partly because they're likely investing in things they think are assets, but are actually liabilities. His simplified definition argues that assets are things that generate positive cash flow, which means they pay you just for owning them. Liabilities are things that require expenses, so these take cash out of your pocket. His famous example relates to housing. Many in the middle class see their house as the greatest investment of their lifetime, but what sort of investment is this when you spend 30 years paying down a mortgage and interest while also shouldering insurance costs, property taxes, maintenance, renovations, heating and air conditioning, water, electric, etc.? In reality, buying a house means taking on a huge financial liability that drains cash from your pocket. This is no way to get rich. Instead, the rich focus on their asset columns while everyone else focuses on their income statements. These assets help them build wealth over time, but most of society is just thinking about expenditures like buying a car, buying a house, or simply keeping up with the Joneses down the street. He argues that in many ways, the difference between becoming rich or staying poor lies in your psychology. He says, quote, "Broke is temporary, poor is eternal." This boils down to a fundamental difference in how you perceive your circumstances. Someone who sees themselves as being broke recognizes while that they're currently out of money, they do not expect to remain this way indefinitely. If you consider yourself to be poor though, this is sort of a victim mentality that is self-fulfilling and builds on itself. You're telling your subconscious that you'll never be rich, nor do you deserve to be. So many people say, "Oh, I'm not interested in money," yet they'll work at a job for 8 hours a day. Having a job doesn't necessarily make you secure though. It provides you with just enough income to survive on or even feel comfortable, but it also makes you quite vulnerable to the whims and decisions of someone else. Your financial future is defined externally rather than on your own accord. Having more money doesn't solve your problems either if you don't know how to manage it. It'll be wasted away just as soon as it was received. At its core, this book is about taking the initiative to, at a minimum, boost your financial literacy. Wage earners, that is, most of us working a day job employed by someone else, pay income taxes on their gross earnings, which you could also think of as your personal revenue. But businesses pay taxes in a completely different manner. They get to deduct all of their expenses, depreciation, and other costs from their revenue before having to pay taxes. The rich place their assets in limited liability corporations, also known as LLCs, which enable them to pay very little taxes as they deduct all relevant expenses before having to hand anything over to the government. This is a subtle way in which our tax code encourages us to be adventurous entrepreneurs, as we essentially get penalized through higher taxes for remaining employees our entire lives. Kiyosaki says that financial struggle comes then as a result of working for someone else your entire life. He explains further that when looking for his own investments, he focuses on business opportunities that don't require his physical presence. This can be in buying shares of stock, bonds, royalties from music, scripts, or patents, and income-generating real estate. This stands in contrast to buying a home that becomes a liability as you inherit significant expenses for residing there, but instead buying real estate that you can rent out to others to create positive cash flow for yourself. Of course, we have to live somewhere though. One solution he proposes is investing in duplexes. You can buy the property, live in one side, and then rent out the other side. With the rent you receive from your tenant, you can use this to pay down the mortgage on the property. So you're basically getting paid to live there. This is the type of creative thinking necessary to beat the rat race. Kiyosaki says that many in the poor and middle classes might hear this sort of strategy and think that they can't afford to take such risks. In reality, that just means that they lack the proper financial foundation to feel comfortable understanding and implementing unconventional wealth building tactics. Keep your day job for as long as you have to, but with your savings and extra time, start accumulating financial assets and keep an eye out for the many opportunities around you. Once you change your perspective on taking financial risks, you'll realize that chances to make money are all around you. So put your money to work for you and set yourself free from a life devoted to being someone else's employee. As Kiyosaki says, the best thing about money is that it works 24 hours a day and can work for generations. To accomplish this though, you must master your financial IQ. This relates to 4 broad areas of expertise: accounting, investing, understanding markets, and the law. Fortunately, if you're a regular listener to our podcast or read our daily investing newsletter, you should be pretty familiar with many of the concepts in these areas. If you're not, first things first is to grow your financial knowledge. Don't let your self-doubt, particularly surrounding managing money, hold you back. Kiyosaki states, simple math and common sense are all you need to do well financially. While we're taught to savor money and for some even fear it, Kiyosaki argues that we'd be far better off if we realized the whole thing is just a game. Life is one big monopoly board and the biggest winners aren't the most conservative. When you realize that the process of accumulating great wealth is really just a game that depends on how well you play the cards dealt to you, your behaviors change dramatically. Money is no longer some sacred thing that must be protected at all costs and seldom discussed. Many rich people failed countless times before finding success, but they had the confidence and financial prowess to keep trying, which they recognized is what mattered most. Your first business startup, real estate investment, stock purchase, whatever, may totally fail and lose you money. But if you see it all as a game, declaring bankruptcy is just starting over, which means you have multiple attempts to get things right. In other words, it's not gambling if you know what you're doing. It's only gambling if you're just throwing money into a deal and praying. Kiyosaki continues on by saying, the reason so many talented people are poor is because they focus on building a better hamburger and know little to nothing about business systems. To get over being broke, you must understand how businesses work. Not only is understanding the management of cash flow critical, but you must also learn how to manage systems and people. As your wealth grows and your investments become more sophisticated, you'll have to rely on specialists who can save you time doing things that you are not equipped to handle. This includes hiring accountants, lawyers, real estate brokers, web developers, etc. There's a plethora of different types of people who will need to help you on your journey, and understanding the value they add, their incentives, and your systems for managing it all are vital to your continued success. Choosing to take action and accumulate abundant asset columns that produce life-changing cash flows isn't easy even for the financially literate though. Kiyosaki says that fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and simple arrogance can hold people back from changing their financial circumstances. Quote, for most people, the reason they don't win financially is because the pain of losing money is far greater than the joy of being rich. Even if it's not fear holding us back, nor do we consider ourselves to be lazy, the most common form of laziness in this sense may be choosing to distract ourselves with busy work. Perhaps you anxiously choose to run errands or clean your kitchen for the third time this week, whatever it takes to distract from having to spend the time deeply learning about accounting, real estate, taxes, corporate structures, and more. And don't just buy investments for the sake of doing so. Put in the work to learn about investing. Fortunately, that's what we're here to help with. We have hundreds of videos and podcasts and also courses to teach you about investing. Just go to our website, theinvestorspodcast.com. As we wrap up this video, I wanted to share this quote about how to think about your savings. Quote, the rich know that savings are only used to create more money, not pay bills. Unquote. Everyone has bills they have to pay, and for some, it's easier to build savings than others. But if you can cut back on expenses, avoid unnecessary luxuries, and change your mindset to an obsession with learning about managing money, how businesses work, and entrepreneurship, you'll find that there are life-changing investment opportunities abound. This book then is really about changing how you see the world. Don't spend hundreds of thousands on a college degree just to get a job working for someone else and agreeing to be financially dependent on them for the rest of your life. Be intentional about every decision you make and optimize for your future and financial independence. Become financially literate and stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and poverty, and work your butt off to build savings that enable you to buy assets that put money in your pockets and help you build wealth patiently over time. There's no get rich quick secret, but it's quite well documented how to get rich slowly, and it's more attainable than you might think. That's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd really encourage you to check out the book for yourself. If you do, we have special links below to purchase a physical copy or use our Audible link to listen to it. Please also like, subscribe, and share your comments below if you liked it. We love hearing your thoughts, so tell us, what are your biggest takeaways from this book? Do you believe it's possible to be financially independent? And which book should we review next? Just a reminder, nothing in this video is financial advice, and I'd encourage you to do your own research before making any investment decisions. Don't miss our mini-series on the ultimate guide to investing in stocks, where we teach you more about the fundamentals of investing, optimizing your returns, planning for retirement, and so much more. See y'all next time. Getting started is often the hardest part in investing, as stocks may invoke flashy Wall Street depictions that seem daunting. However, with this series, you'll learn what's necessary to not just beat the pros, but how to build a better financial future.